my Vlogmas and to my channel. Today is something a little bit unusual for me. I don't know, I've been sort of reading a lot of things and seeing a lot of vlogs lately, and it's kind of inspired me to talk about something that I have been thinking about talking about for a little while, debating it, not really sure whether it's something that I should be vlogging about. You know, I think that when you vlog, it's difficult. You can be kind of seen as a bit of an expert in whatever subject you're talking about. You know, I certainly am not an expert in anything I talk about. It's all just my views and my opinions. But at the end of the day, I've decided to film this vlog now, before I change my mind, just because I feel it might help somebody. And I suppose if it helps one person at this time of the year, which can be quite difficult for people, and it's going to be a great reason for doing the vlog. What a long and rambling introduction, sorry about that. So today I'm going to be chatting about anxiety and about panic attacks as well. You may not have realised, and you probably wouldn't have realised, that I do suffer from anxiety, and I have had panic attacks as well. It is extraordinarily unpleasant. It's a horrible thing to suffer from. I'm going to tell you how mine came about and what I do to cope with my anxiety and when I feel a panic attack is coming along. Before I really start though, obviously I just want to say I am not a medical or mental health expert in any way, shape or form. If you are struggling with feelings of anxiety or depression, please get in touch with your doctor. They know how to deal with these kind of things. There is support and help out there for you. Nobody should ever feel alone in feeling this way. And let me just make one thing clear as well. This is not something to be embarrassed about. I wasn't thinking about not doing this vlog because I'm embarrassed. It's just because it's sharing something that's actually quite private and quite intimate for me. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's a lot more common than you think. And the main thing is you guys are not alone. You know, we're all in it together and we should all help each other out. So for me personally, I suppose I've always kind of been a little bit of an anxious person. Even when I was a kid lying in bed, I'd think, what would I do if there was a fire? How would I get out? So I suppose even when I was very young, I've had those kind of anxious thoughts, I suppose, go through my mind, but not to any extent to which it would stop me from doing something. I suppose my biggest anxiety trigger in my life up until a certain point was claustrophobia, and it was that kind of feeling of being trapped, not in a small space, but in a situation that I couldn't get out of. So, for example, the thought of going on a cruise is quite scary for me because I'm going to be in the middle of the ocean, and what if I don't like it? What if I get panicked? I can't get off. I can't just leave and get home. So I think that was already kind of underlying for me. And then I've mentioned it before, my mother got cancer 2.5 years ago. I think it was in the June or July of 2014, and then I'm feeling anxious just talking about it really. And then that Christmas, my husband and I had planned to go on this massive huge North America holiday to celebrate my 40th birthday. By the December my mum was quite ill, but she insisted that I still go on the holiday. Just before we were due to fly, we discovered that the cancer had spread to her brain, which was utterly devastating. She went on to have some radiation pinpointing in her head to make sure she didn't get seizures and things. But even at that stage, you know, being a good mum, she just insisted that we went on this holiday. So I'm getting feelings of anxiety just talking about it. Shucks. I was really torn as to whether or not to go. My instinct, so I should have actually just said that my mum lived in South Africa. So obviously I'm in England, she's in South Africa, we were going to go to America. You know, it was all quite a stressful situation. But having spoken to her quite a bit about it, and she absolutely insisted, we decided to still go on holiday. When we were driving down to the airport, down to London Heathrow, I could feel this feeling. I'm feeling it now. So how it comes on for me is like this feeling of breathlessness. I found myself yawning a lot because I'm feeling anxious. Unconsciously I'm breathing really shallowly. I'm not realizing that I'm doing it, but obviously I am, and my body's not getting enough oxygen, so that causes me to then start yawning a lot, and I have to take a lot of deep breaths. If I recognise the signs, which I can do now, that it's going to escalate into something more, I can take action. But on that day, driving over to Heathrow, I had no idea what was going to happen, basically. So get to the airport, check in, and all the while I'm feeling more and more and more anxious, but I'm just trying to bottle it in and keep it down. Just think, come on, you've made your decision, we're going to America, it's going to be an amazing holiday, you know, it should be a great time, you should be really excited, yay, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so we get to this restaurant at Heathrow. Sorry, this is a bit of a babbly one. We get to this restaurant at Heathrow. It's a very, very big restaurant with a very low ceiling. We get seated in the very back of the restaurant. I said to my husband, I can't sit here, I'm freaking out. So we moved to a table closer towards the door, but still, I think by then, the panic had just overtaken me. And I think for me, it was that massive fight or flight fight going on inside my body. Everything inside of me was saying that I shouldn't be going to America, but I was still going. And that conflict within myself just caused my body to have a bit of a meltdown. My heart was racing. I couldn't really see clearly. I couldn't really talk or focus on what my husband Jason was saying. And I was just severely panicking. I managed to put a lid on it and get on that plane. The flight was very unpleasant because the whole flight, really, I was just feeling massively anxious. I distracted myself by watching some movies, I tried to get some sleep, and I just tried to keep telling myself that it would all be okay, it would all be okay. When we were in America, I suffered 2 further panic attacks, one when we were in Las Vegas and one when we were in San Francisco. What I will say is, if you're feeling anxious, don't go to Las Vegas. It's the most overstimulating place on the planet. And when you're feeling really, really anxious already, it's not good to be so overstimulated. You need to do everything you can to try and have calm in your environment. So we'd been out for this day, been walking around. Suddenly I got really, really, really thirsty. For me, a sign that something's coming is I get really thirsty and I need to pee loads and I'm yawning a lot. So that's when I kind of know that it's my body's kind of warning sign that something unpleasant is about to happen. Told my husband I can't stay out here. We were just sort of walking around Vegas. Can't stay out, I've got to go back to the hotel, and I had a complete meltdown. I wanted to get out of there. I couldn't breathe. It just felt like there wasn't enough air to breathe in the whole of America, and it was so weird. I remember walking down the streets looking at everyone thinking, how come everyone's so calm? Like, I'm about to lose my mind here. What is going on? It literally feels like you're losing your grip on sanity. That's the only way I can explain it. It's not just the heart pounding. For me, it's my mind feels on the verge of something terrible. It's not, obviously, but that's how you feel in that moment. And that happened in America twice. Luckily for me, my husband was there. He calmed me down, he listened to me having a complete meltdown, he told me everything was going to be okay, and because I love and trust him, I believed him, and it did help me calm down a bit, to be honest. Unfortunately, my mother's illness progressed, and on the day of my birthday, on Boxing Day, we got a call to go home quickly. So we rushed from LA to Cape Town, and luckily I had 10 more days with my mum. And to be honest, it was really strange because as soon as I got to her house, all of that feeling of anxiety just left me. I think it was literally just my body's way of telling me you're in the wrong place doing the wrong thing. That fight or flight was so strong. As soon as I got home and I was there with my mum, I felt so much better because I suppose I was back in control. I was there with her. I was where I thought I was meant to be. So I had 10 days with her, and then sadly she passed away in January of 2015. I stayed in South Africa for another month or so with my sister and obviously dealing with things. Then came back to England, had a few weeks off work, and then just got back to work. I had been prescribed some very, very mild anti-anxiety tablets, which I started taking towards the end of my time in Cape Town, and then I took for a while just because I wasn't sleeping. So when I first came back to the UK, I was on a very mild anti-anxiety medication. That works for a lot of people. It did work for me, but for my personal choice, I didn't want to be on it on a permanent basis or for any longer than I felt that I needed to be on it. So I went off the medication, and it took me a long time. I think I was in a pretty black place for about a year, to be honest, but you know, you just kind of get on, life carries on, doesn't it, really? But the weird thing was, when I was sat there with my mum as she was passing away, I thought to myself, you know what, I thought nothing would ever scare me again as much as that scared me, and seeing that was just so terrifying, so horrifying. I thought to myself, you know what, Sally, you are going to face everything now with a brave face. Nothing is ever going to faze you ever again, because if you can get through this, you can get through anything. But funnily enough, the opposite seemed to happen. My anxiety has increased since that all happened. I find certain situations that never fazed me before a lot harder, and one of the massive triggers for me is travel, and I think it is because of that time I went to America and all of those panic attacks happened, and it was all around travel. So now it's really frustrating, but when I have to travel, if I've got to go down to London, or even if we're going on holiday, one of my first thoughts is, oh my god, what happens if I have a panic attack? The thing with anxiety and panic attacks is it's a vicious circle. It really, really is. What happens is you start to feel anxious, you start to have anxious thoughts, that leads to a physical feeling of anxiety, and in extreme cases that can lead to a panic attack. And then what happens is the cycle goes around, because then your fear of having another panic attack makes you anxious, leads to those feelings of anxiety, and can give you another panic attack. And it is just ironic that the fear of having another panic attack can bring another panic attack on. Recently I was in London attending a conference. I was there on my own, and I had a panic attack in the hotel room on my own, and that was a pretty horrifying experience because there was nobody there. My husband wasn't there to kind of calm me down. So what I found really worked, I had the TV on, I was really trying to focus on what they were saying. I wasn't actually focusing on my breathing, because for me, I find that actually makes my breathing more laboured if I focus on it too much. So I was just trying to distract myself, and all the while I was telling myself, Sally, you are going to be okay. You are going to be okay. You will get through this. You will get through this. You are going to be okay. Just kept saying that to myself again and again and again. I didn't have my anxiety medication on me. I've stopped taking it quite a while ago, but I do sometimes take it with me when I travel, just in case those panic attacks occur. But you know what, guys, I got through it, and I got up the next day and I went to that conference, and all day my heart was pounding, but I did it. And that is the key for me. You cannot let anxiety stop you from doing what you want to do in life, because life is just too short to allow your own mind to rule what you do in life and what you experience and the joy you have and what you get out of life. So I don't know if that's helped anybody, me talking about that. The reason I wanted to say this is, you're not alone. First of all, you are not alone. A lot of people suffer from anxiety and panic, and there's nothing to be ashamed of or embarrassed about. You will get over it. You will get through it. You are not alone. You will survive it. Just keep believing that everything is going to be okay, and just try and put yourself in a calmer environment. Don't let it stop you from doing stuff. Face your fears, go out there, travel, whatever it is that triggers your anxiety, face it. I think the more we face our fears, the less fearful we become of them. I hope that was, I don't know what I hope that was, but I actually feel a bit better for having said it. I feel a bit sweaty. So that was it, guys, for today. Kind of hope you enjoyed that. I don't know. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. Please let me know what your experiences of anxiety are and how your coping mechanisms. I'd be really interested to know, actually. Thanks very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.